Hi and welcome folks. In this video we have Viltrox's brand new lab lens, the 35mm f1.2 to check out. We're going to be shooting with a bunch of different models to see how this lens, which is smaller, lighter and way cheaper than the competition, does in terms of performance and image quality. Let's go. Hi folks, hi Felicia, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Over the last few years, Viltrox have really snuck up on me. They released some Z-mount lenses that were relatively great prices compared to the Nikon equivalents, but crucially, they backed it up with really nice image quality. Then in, I think it was late 2024, they released the 135 lab lens, which took things to a whole different level. Much higher build quality, optical quality, customizations and stuff, and it was really taking it to what, say, Nikon and Sony had on the market in their 135 1.8s, again at a much lower price. Well, today they've just released their second lab lens, and I think with this one, they may have surpassed what the big players are offering. Welcome to the family, the 35mm f1.2 lab lens from Viltrox. Now, I mentioned in the intro that this lens is way cheaper than the competition. It's under $1,000. Comparing that to Nikon's $2,800 lens, this is about 35% of the price, and I would expect we will see this coming for Z-mount in the future. Their 135 lab lens is already on the way. So look, no getting away from it, this is a fairly chunky lens, but it's actually significantly smaller and lighter than the competition. Nikon's latest 35mm lens, the 1.2S, is 15 centimeters long and 1,060 grams. And the Sigma that they make for L mount and Sony E mount is slightly shorter than the Nikon, but it's even heavier at 1,100 grams. This guy at 920 grams is about 15% lighter, and it's about 20% shorter than the Nikon lens. So it's still a substantial lens, but it's really good to see a company like Viltrox bringing it to the big guys with great optical quality in actually a smaller and more cost-effective package. Now, it may not be immediately apparent why you would want a fast aperture on a wide angle lens like a 35, because, you know, if you're shooting 85 or 105, you're shooting a tight headshot, you're getting a frame that's in nice and close like this, and then boom, you get that beautiful bokeh in the background. You don't really shoot tight headshots with a 35 because just by the nature of the design, you're going to get some distortion in there. All 35mm lenses are going to distort a headshot that close up. But the beauty of it is, if you want to be able to isolate your subject when you're not so close, when you're shooting a frame that is appropriate for the focal length and isn't introducing distortion, like here I've got head to the bottom of her skirt, and despite being this far away, and despite being on a medium wide angle lens, I'm still able to get a beautifully blurry background, or indeed foreground, whilst having her nicely in sharp focus. Sound the alarm. Please drop a comment below to welcome Amber to the channel. Big thanks to Felicia for introducing her. We actually shot the two of them together for Patreon Uncut. You can see that below. It takes you behind the scenes with uncut footage from different photo shoots that we can't share here or on social media. Full details are in my link tree below. Now, Viltrox are aiming this one mainly at stills, but also at video. And I have to say the autofocus is silent and really responsive. I don't think I've missed a shot in terms of autofocus. The 35 is using Viltrox's latest Hyper VCM autofocus motor that has a double floating magnetic suspension system that's meant to make it faster and more accurate.
So then, what separates this new Lab Series lens from their already great Pro Series of lenses? Well, the 35-1.2 is what Viltrox call their UA line for ultra large aperture. It also features their precision aspherical lens technology, which minimizes onion ring bokeh and is designed to deliver outstanding resolution whilst also giving you beautifully soft out of focus areas, thereby balancing the clarity and sharpness with top-notch bokeh.
This video is brought to you by 1 Week in Sydney, my brand new Art Nude portraiture course that brings you along on 6 different photo shoots with 6 gorgeous Sydney-sider models. Check it out, full details in my link tree below. Now, as this guy is aimed at video as well, they've taken efforts to try and minimize the focus breathing. Let's just take a look at that. We'll first of all get it in autofocus. Now, switching to manual focus. You can see as we focus to the background and then to the foreground, there's a tiny bit of breathing, but really not too much. Keeping in mind that Sony keeps their focus breathing compensation only for their own lenses, that's a pretty good result. And you'll note that this guy will focus down to 35 centimeters. And at that point, you see the highlights we're getting in the background. Super nice and circular thanks to the 11 rounded aperture blades on this lens. I gotta say, I really like the tactile controls on this lens. You've got the autofocus, manual focus switch, 2 different customizable function buttons, and then you've got the clickable or declickable apertures. That's what I have at the moment on this control ring, is aperture, but nice to be able to click it on or off. Generally, I prefer to have that on, but if you're shooting video, it's nice to be able to turn that off and just have a smooth movement through your aperture or whatever you customize that to. Also nice that you still have the customizable OLED display there. At the moment, it's showing my focus distance and settings and my aperture. You can also put a customizable welcome screen animation. I had my last one set to Portrait Master. I'm not sure what I'll have on this one. It's a funny thing when we talk about the circularity of bokeh versus cat's eye. You have to keep in mind, it's not just a matter of what the aperture blades are. It depends on the shape of the light and your angle on it as well. So just keep this in mind when you're watching someone's reviews. You can make it more circular or more cat's eye by changing your angle on it. Again, if I switch to video here, we go in nice and close, so we're getting all those hot spots in the background. You see, as I go to different angles, the shape of the lights is changing. So here, that light behind her is super circular. As I move out, more of a cat's eye. And that's more to do with the shape of the light itself and the angle of incidence. But 11 rounded aperture blades, you kind of can't go wrong. So look, it's kind of hyperbolic and pointless at this point to say a certain lens is really versatile, because it just depends on how you choose to use it. But as I showed, you can use the 35 for environmental portraits, and obviously you can use it for street and architecture and travel and all of that kind of thing. But given that this guy gives you a close focus of 35 centimeters, you really can get in close to shoot different subjects. And given the 1.2 aperture, you can A, really get rid of your background and blur it right out, but B, you can get so much light to shoot in low light situations. Here we're in total cloud cover and under a canopy, but I'm able to get still a 500th of a second at my base ISO thanks to the 1.2 aperture. So I'm just doing a little tracking test. It's not something you're probably going to do with the 35 lens, but to see how it's able to keep up with her at a fast aperture as she's moving towards camera. So if you are tracking a moving subject, the first couple of tests went well. I'm just going to get another one in the fastest frames per second. Ready whenever you are. Coming up to keep her face in frame. Oof. I think it was just my cards that ended up buffering. So look, I have to say the performance has been pretty much flawless. I haven't missed a shot in terms of autofocus. It's quick and responsive, and the image quality, at least on the back of camera, is looking fantastic. Let's head back in studio and pixel peep the files a little bit. Reminder, you can grab some sample files in the description below. So big thanks to Viltrox for sending this guy out to us. If you're in the market for 35 1.2, it's kind of a no-brainer. Smaller, lighter, excellent image quality, and much, much better price. What's not to like about it? Really glad to see the way that these lab lenses are going after the 135 and now the 35. I wonder if we'll get a 100 in the middle. I just wanted to show you some images, and these are the ones I'm going to give you as downloads to just give you a little bit of an idea of how the lens is doing. So here's a shoot we were doing with Honey. This was actually the day I was testing out the Nikon 35 1.2, so I got a chance to shoot them side by side. And you can see even from such a far distance, we've got so much softness in the foreground, and we're able to get a really nice blurred background there. This guy's shooting down on her. Now this one I stopped down to f2, which still in the middle of the day, what was that? It still gave us 1/400th of a second on a cloudy day at base ISO. So we still had plenty of exposure, and just look at the kind of detail we're getting here. It's at that point where you have to question, for a portrait, is it too much? But for anything else, fantastically nuanced. Some shots here from the shoot with Amber and Felicia. And again, handling the contrast really nicely. This one of Felicia with the flyaway hairs I thought was really pretty. Just one thing to be careful of if you're shooting at a fast aperture like this. This one was at 1.6, so not even wide open. Here we have Felicia in perfect focus, but we're already finding Amber blurring out into the distance. So it's really easy to get rid of your background. Reminder, if you want to check out Patreon Uncut, we also shot with Felicia and Amber that day, and also actually with Honey as well. If you're talking of blurring out the background, here just focused on the edge of the hood of my video cameraman's setup. We don't even read the markings on the front of the lens that couple of inches behind. So incredibly shallow, the depth of field. And then some of the different shots we took of Felicia that day in the cool tunnel. Loads of detail where you want it, and just really soft, unobtrusive blur in the background that lets you separate out even though you're at a reasonably wide angle lens. I really like this top-down view as well. So check out the sample files below. You can download RAWs to check them out for yourself. Again, thanks to Viltrox for sending this one out. Let me know any questions that you guys have, and I'll see you soon.